Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, and thank you for your comments. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are committed to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. So I've entitled this video, "The United States Government Should Take Over This State." And the state is Minnesota. If half of what they say is going on up there is actually going on, the government needs to step in and take over that state. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. Down here in the South, in these southern slave states, there are a number of majority black counties. A lot of people don't know that. But there are a number of majority black counties in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, all the way up till you get into those northern states. There are a bunch of majority black counties, and they are run efficiently. Some of them are run quite efficiently. But these southern state governments will set up straw man standards for black counties. Well, they'll set the standards up, and then they will go through the black counties with fine-tooth combs looking for some type of problem so the state can come in and take over a certain aspect of that county for a certain period of time in the name of fixing it. It might be the school system. It might be the way the welfare program is distributed. It could be the city government, public health, law enforcement, anything that they've decided you've got a problem here, then the state comes in and takes it over for that period of time, because the state won't let them do it forever, but they'll do it for the period of time that they're allowed to do it. They'll come up with anything so the state can come in and take over that county, which means that a white man or some white people are going to come in and start controlling things so they can get paid, because that's what it's always about, them getting paid. Now juxtapose that against what's happening in Minnesota, comparing what could be happening in a county in the South versus a state where a few $100,000 might be missing, $1 million at the most, versus $9 billion that they say might have been stolen from Minnesota taxpayers. I think that if they can come in and take over a county down here in the South, then the federal government should take over the state of Minnesota and find out what's going on up there, that they are stealing that much money away from the Minnesota taxpayers. And people can say whatever they want to say about the Somalis, but I know enough about white people to know that if $9 billion were stolen, the Somalis didn't get all of that money. Some white folk got some of that money, but the Somalis will probably be the ones to take the fall. But the Somalis don't do themselves any favor by running their mouth. They won't stop talking. They're so eager to prove that they're so much smarter than everybody else. Just like Nigerians, they keep talking about they're not Africans or whatever. They don't identify with the black Africans, but they act just like them. There's no difference between the way they act and the Nigerians. But the Nigerians have learned there's a time to speak up and a time to shut up. And so I think the Nigerians at least know when to shut up. The Somalis don't. So they keep running their mouth, making these videos where they're trying to make fun of everybody. And law enforcement agencies are steadily coming up there, conducting sting operations, going through the books, going through all of the records up there, trying to see how many of them are up there illegally. Because according to most recent reports, they're coming from all over the country, coming from Somalia and Kenya and everywhere up there in Minnesota, trying to get their hands on a few dollars. And they don't know when to shut up. But I wanted you to listen to some of these videos to get kind of a handle on what's going on up there, because this is, after all, America. Minnesota is a state in America. So if they can go up there and do stuff like that in Minnesota, they'll be trying to do it everywhere else too. So everybody needs to keep an eye on what's going on up there.
Somalis, we have entered a phase as a community we were not ready for. That's spotlight. Yeah, now the spotlight is dimming down a bit. Did you notice something? People did not just look at what we have been showing them. They've also looked at what we have been hiding. Yeah, our culture is overall secretive. We like to hide our flaws. This only worked when no one was watching. It doesn't work anymore. Everyone else was watching. Sheesh. Because literally our whole system, our habits, our excuses, they all got questioned from people of good intentions and bad ones. Oh, we got a FaceTime. Let's answer it.
Pause. Just pause. I have to stop you there for a second. You see, that framing, it doesn't sit right with me. Let's be honest. Somalis are not being targeted because we are weak. We are targeted because we are visible. Wherever Somalis go, they don't dissolve. They establish. That visibility unsettles some people.
I've noticed Africans do a lot of that. They are shameless self-promoters. They want the world to think they are so smart and they're doing such wonderful things, but they can't do a damn thing in their homeland. So this guy with the sunglasses on is wasting everybody's time, so I'm not going to let y'all listen to him. But the first guy with this jerry curl is telling the truth. They are secretive, and secretive people are also called sneaky people. So they're no smarter than anybody else, because if they were smart, and we have to keep saying this, if you were so smart, you would be in Somalia running your country and showing the world all of these brilliant things that you say you are. You wouldn't be in another country stealing, or as my mother used to say, stealing. You wouldn't be in the United States stealing. So the Somalis have a perception of who they are, who they think they are, and then there are Americans who have a perception of who they are. So listen to this guy.
It angers them to the core that their countries aren't able to build societies as prosperous, free, and flourishing as ours. They view our way of life as immoral and repugnant. They despise our way of life and walk around with hate in their hearts, ready to spring at any opportunity to rob us, steal us, defraud us, and accelerate our decline and downfall. But the forced government incompetence and ignorance as a result of people who are perceived as victims being protected led to these programs being developed as ripe for fraud. And while 90% of the people arrested so far have been Somali, as you saw in the last two clips, those people were from Kenya. And as you'll see in this next clip, even other Americans were coming to Minnesota explicitly to rob the state's welfare programs.
Federal agents raided a home health care agency suspected of billing Medicaid for housing services that it never provided. Now, this is all part of a crackdown on alleged fraud that cost more than $1 billion. That's billion with a B. You heard that correctly. Prosecutors say it was so easy to steal from Minnesota's welfare programs, people actually traveled from the East Coast to do it. CBS News Minnesota's Jonah Kaplan has more on the scandal.
U.S. attorneys in Minnesota filed fraud charges against 6 defendants on Thursday, including 2 men from Philadelphia. Prosecutors accused both men of what they called fraud tourism, submitting up to $3.5 million in fake and inflated bills to a Medicaid housing program.
They came here because they knew and understood that Minnesota was a place where taxpayer money could be taken with little risk and few consequences.
These individuals had no connection to Minnesota, nor to its large Somali American community. Most of the nearly 90 people previously charged in the fraud scandal are Somali.
This is why we get so frustrated when liberals insist that illegal aliens can't be receiving welfare because that's against the law. We acknowledge it's against the law, but we also acknowledge that politicians enable and accept the fraud if the data disproportionately points to people committing the fraud who are seen as part of a protected victim class who can't be criticized.
So we'll just let that sit. Because when they start talking about people playing the victim, they always point to Black Americans. But when somebody's getting some money out of it, then it's always somebody else. But anyway, y'all, I think that the United States government need to go into Minnesota, take over that state, and go through all of the books and check all of those visas from those Somali people and other Africans too. And the Somalis need to stop calling themselves Arabs because they are not behaving like Arabs. Arabs actually do come and set up businesses in the black communities, which black people really shouldn't patronize. But they don't do what the Somalis are doing. I've never heard of it from the Arabs. I might be wrong. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. But what they're doing is just low class stuff, just trying to beat their way. That's what I see from those Somalis. And it's just shameful. But anyway, y'all let me know what you think about this, because if this was anything to do with black Americans, every one of them would be in jail by now. It would be more than 80 people too. Okay, y'all. Have a good day.